Hello folks, it's Logger John here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of looking at wood piles and cutting wood and splitting wood and all that kind of stuff, we're going to do a tour of my toy room. And it's something special, and hope you enjoy it. I started collecting toys in around the early 90s and mostly focused on farm toys. Since I grew up on a farm, my collecting kind of went that way, so collecting farm toys, farm tractors, equipment, that kind of stuff. And then I started collecting Tonka toys, old Tonka toys. Now some of these toys I had when I was a child, so I grew up with them, so we'll look at those too. And when my son was born, he started collecting a few Hot Wheels, so I started collecting a few Hot Wheels too. And so come along with me and we'll do a tour of a toy room. Hope you enjoy.
Big John, Big John, Big Bad John.
So what I'm going to do is we'll start on the top shelf here, and we'll work our way to the bottom shelf. And up in the top here you'll see some Tonka toys. Now these particular ones here I had as a child, so they're a little bit special. We got a crane there in the corner, and you move along, there's a dump truck, and then we move into a home hardware truck and a bulldozer on top with a backhoe. And we move down here, you can see there's a Tonka bulldozer. So all these toys, well, not the home hardware truck, but all these other toys up here as you see them, they were my toys when I was a kid, so they're in pretty good shape, as you can see. I was pretty easy on my toys, I guess. So then you move down here. These toys here, this is a case with, I don't know if you can see it in the back there, there's a haybine, a John Deere haybine, hooked onto a case. These were also my toys growing up. Move down here, there's a John Deere baler right there, and it's hooked onto a Massey 275. So we'll keep going. The John Deere manure spreader, and it's hooked onto 1586 International. And then you got a John Deere corn wagon, a forage wagon, and it's hooked on, there's a corn harvester hooked onto it, or I should say the corn harvester is hooked onto the John Deere tractor in the corner back there, and then the wagon's hooked onto the harvester. And then as you see all these little toys along here, they're just odds and ends I've collected over the years. So we'll keep going down here. Now this particular one here is made out of a bunch of Tonka stuff. I like doing a bit of customizing, so I built this. I took a bunch of Tonka vehicles and I built this, I guess you could call it a log forwarder for picking up logs in the woods. Now the front part of it used to be a Tonka loader, and the back part was a Tonka dump truck. And I added some logs onto it there. And then I put a blade on the front. There's a blade right there. And then we're moving down here to the custom-made Tonka log skidder that I built out of a bunch of odd and ends Tonka trucks and equipment. And as you can see, it's got the dual tires on it. And then up ahead here we have the John Deere log skidder. That was in kind of rough shape when I got it. They're really hard to find, and if you do find one and it's still in the box, you're going to pay about $300 or $400 for it. I got this particular one from a guy I knew, and I had to kind of restore it and fix it up a bit and fix the cab on it. So I was happy to get that. And then we got a custom built high hole in the back here. I built it a few years ago, and the tracks came off a plastic high hoe that I found in the local dump, and the top part is a Tonka unit that came off a truck, So I made that, and then if you can see in the back there's a truck that I had when I was a kid. It's a Tonka pickup truck. This particular one, you could take the tires off it. There's a jack in the back, and it had a motorbike in the back too, but I lost the motorbike. So if I wish I could find the motorbike for it. But and then we move along here. You got the Tonka bulldozer, and in the back there's a Canadian Tire transport truck. I don't know if you can see it. There's the cab. And then moving ahead, we got a bigger bulldozer, and then a Tonka pickup. And in the back there's a Tonka Jeep. Now this particular truck here, you can see it. It's made in Toronto, Canada. Tonka had a factory for a while in Canada. They made a bunch of stuff in Canada. It is a US company, but... And you move along here, lots of Tonka bulldozers and loaders. And then we got a Tonka forklift. And then in the back there's some Jeeps, and then we're moving up here to a Tonka road grader. Well, it's a customized, I didn't customize it, but it actually came like this from the Tonka factory, but they're kind of rare. It's got the wing on the side for plowing snow, and it's articulating in the middle. It's kind of cool. I picked that up at a flea market a few years ago. So we're back to square one. So now I'm going to move down and go down a couple shelves here. So we'll go over here and we'll start here. So we're going to move down to the second shelf here, and we're going to start in the corner where all the case tractors are. And as you can see, we got a 600 case, then we got an 800 case, and then a 300 case. Then we move into the older, even the older style ones. We got a DC4 gas, and then we move into, I believe it's a DC4 propane version. You can see the tank up at the front there, right ahead of the steering wheel. And then we move into another, I think it's a DC3 maybe. And then we're moving along here. We got some farm alls. We got some cubs with the side mower. And then one here with the chains and the blade. And then we have an industrial cub. And in the back there's some more cubs and A's. There's a I believe somewhere back there's a B. Where's the B? That's the B right there. And then over here we have F20, I believe. That's an F20 farm all. We move down here. We have the white demonstrator farm all. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. It's a white demonstrator A. And then we got the 140 back there, International 140, and we'll move to the next shelf. And we have a 606 International, and then let me see, it's an International 600 diesel, and then an International 460 utility tractor. And then we have a Farm All M, Super M, and a Farm All 300, and then a Farm All H down there at the corner. So we're just going to go right down here to the next shelf, and in the corner there we have a Farm All 450 with the side mounted generator. They were a thing that they came out with. I don't know if you can see it, there's a bit of a shadow on it. They came out with those, and they didn't really work out too good. They were a generator. You could run your milk machine off it. You could run different things on the side. It was side mounted, but I think they only had them for a few years. So, and then we're moving down here to a 450 wide front end, and then we have the International 544. That's one of my favorite models I have. And then we're moving into the 504 Farm All, and then we have a Farm All 350, another Farm All 350 in the back there. They're two different models. I mean, they're both 350s, but this is a high detail one. If you can see, it's hard to see, but they come with a lot of detail on them. Same with this one here. It's got levers, and that's a gas version there, I believe, and it's if you look really close you can see the spark plug wires and stuff. So we'll move right along here over to the other shelf. We have some custom pieces here. In the back there you can see the 686 International pulling tractor. I didn't make that, I bought it like that from a guy. That was one of the first tractors I ever bought. He customized it into a tractor pulling unit with all the weights. And then I did customize the transport trailer. That was one of my, I think that came from the dump too. I found it in the dump, and it was yellow, and I painted it red and took it all apart and customized it. And then we have a wagon here, and in the wagon there's a backhoe sitting in the wagon, like a 3-point hitch backhoe attachment. And then we move down here to the 350 Utility International. And then up here we have the Farm All C white demonstrator. Like I say, we'll talk about those later on. And then up here there's just like a truck. And if we move down to the next shelf here, most of these are the ones on steel wheels. We have a McCormick W30 in the back right there on rubber. And then we have a case on steel. Not sure what number that is on the case. It's a case. And then we have the Farmall F20 on steel. Well, rubber on the front and steel on the back. And then we move into a McCormick Deering on steel. And then an International kerosene tractor on steel, the green one. And then in the corner we have McCormick Deering on steel. And then on the front here we just have some odds and ends. A couple different ones. So we'll move right along here. We'll go down here, and this is the industrial shelf, I call it. So we have, these are all industrial tractors here and bulldozers. So in the back there we have an industrial 21206 International diesel. And then at the front here we have an industrial 660 International. And in the back, we'll go to the back here, we have a John Deere bulldozer. And up front here we have International M Highway Department. You can see it right there. And then in the back here, we're moving to the bulldozers. We have a TD14 in the back there, International. And then in the front here, we have a T340 bulldozer. So moving right along, we come up here, we have a Farmall C hooked on, the rake's hooked onto it. Side delivery rake. I grew up driving one of these on the farm. Spent many hours driving one of these raking hay with the same unit right here. And in the back we have a customized MTA, Super MTA Farmall. It's got the wider tires in the back and the big pipe. He's ready to go tractor pulling right there. And then we move into a Super C, narrow front end. And then up front here we have a newer model, DX33. And we have a Caterpillar 2-ton track. It doesn't have a blade in the front, but and there's an operator sitting on there. And in the back here we have a pretty neat unit. It's a Case steam engine. So we'll move to the next shelf here, and what do we have here? We have, it's hard to see them, but we got one here. It's a W450 International, and right there is the 560 International Farmall 560. And then we have a 400 Farmall with the loader on the front. And in the back, you move to the back, you got an International, I believe that's a T14 maybe, I'm not sure. And then we have a kind of a neat little tractor. It's a Farm All 340 in the back there. It's kind of a cool little unit. And then in the front here we have another tractor. It's a T340 right there. It's a nice little unit. And if you go to the back there, we have another International back in the back there. I forget the number on that one. So we're down here near the bottom of the shelf. These are the newer style tractors I got here. We have a Case 2594, I believe, two-wheel drive, and then we move into the International Case four-wheel drive, and it's a 3294 too, I believe, the number. And then up here we have Case IH 7240 four-wheel drive, and then right here we have the 7120 Case IH. And then right here I stuck a International 560 in the corner here with it. And then we'll move up here. We have the 706 diesel Farm All. In the back there we have the 1026 Golden Demonstrator International. And then we have a Case here. We have a Case 1070 Agri King. They're a pretty cool tractor actually. And then over here beside it we have the Black Knight Demonstrator. It's a Case, and it's 1170 Case Black Demonstrator. And then we have another Case 970 Agri King Case, the white one. It's kind of a neat combination, the white and the orange. So then we'll go to the other shelf here, and we have a Tonka roller. We got that at a flea market somewhere. It's kind of a rare piece. And in the back there we have an International industrial backhoe. The backhoe on the back there and the loader. And we just have some odds and ends here. We have a Tonka bulldozer and then a Tonka loader back there. We got a Case skid steer in the back corner and another Tonka forklift. So now we're going to go down to the bottom shelf here, if we can. We have a big Ford TW20, and that tractor, I had that when I was a kid. And then we got some odds and ends, some John Deere's. We have an Oliver, the Oliver 550 right there. And then we have a Ford 8N. And then we have, and there's some more odds and ends, we have some Minneapolis Moline. We have the G750 there in the back. And up front we have the Minneapolis Moline 4-star, I think they call that. We'll go over here, see what we have in this bottom shelf here. We have an International 1486 with the V8 motor in it. They actually made these tractors with the V8 in. I've seen a few real ones at some shows we went to. They're a really cool tractor with the pipes on the side. So then we'll move into the next tractor is a 1566 International with the cab. All these tractors down here, these two have cabs. And then we're moving into, we'll move over here. We have an 826 and then a 1456 with the cab. And in the back there, it's kind of hard to see, we have a 1066 International in the back there. So we'll go down here. We got some more odds and end tractors. We have a Case IH 4-wheel drive C100, and we have a C80 2-wheel drive Case IH. And then in the back there we got a 1020 or an 826 back there. And then kind of a neat tractor back there in the corner is their articulating one, the 6388. They're a real cool tractor. And then up here we have the 1586 with the loader. So that's all the toys on these shelves. We'll move back up here, and we got some cool little ones here. We have Cub Cadet with a snowblower on it. It also comes with a mower deck, but this time of year I put the snowblower on it, getting ready to blow the snow out. And if you look at this little unit here, now this is obviously a different scale than these ones. Most of these scales that we've looked at are 1/16 scale. Now I'm going to show you some of the 1/64 scale. This is a 1/64 scale, and it's a sugarcane harvester unit. And that's a real cool unit. You don't see any of those obviously in Canada, the sugarcane. They're mostly way down south. And then up here on this little shelf we have some 1/64 stagger tractors. Different ones. We have a Case IH pink tractor. And then we have the yellow stagger industrial. And then another Pink Panther stagger. And then we'll move to this shelf up here. This is 1/64 scale. These ones here. This is a bunch. This is where I keep some of my combines. We have a Cat combine, and it's got the tracks on the front. And then we move along to the New Holland combine. And then we have some Case IH combines. And then we have one here, 100,000 edition. They put out a special edition. And then we got the Chrome Special Edition combine, Case IH. And then if we move up here, we have an older style combine. I forget the number on that one. And then we have just a harvester there. We'll move down to the tractors. We got some big ones here. This is 1/64 scale. I won't go along with the numbers, we'll just have a look at them. This guy's here's got triple tracks, or triple tires. This guy's got the tracks. That's a lot of tires right there in that unit. So move along. There's another one with tracks. And then we got the older style Internationals. Down at the end here we got a Case. This was a neat tractor right here. It wasn't articulating, but you could crab steer. All four tires steered on it. You could steer the front one separately or the back one separately, or you could steer them all at the same time. And then we have another Case. We'll move down here quickly. This is where I keep some of my industrial. It's 1/64 scale. I got some there with I think they call that a sheep foot roller. And we'll move along. We got the industrial 660, I believe, industrial with the dual wheels and the big disc behind it. In the back there we got the big Case IH, the 480, hooked onto like a earth mover machine. And then we got the industrial tractor there with the disc. And then we'll move along here. We got some sprayers in the background. And then up here, backhoe and bulldozer. And then we got this log skidder here in the corner. And down here, there's just a bunch of different numbers. Go along here. And cool, and then we'll move down to this last shelf here. We got the corn picker mounted on the tractor here with the wagon. You can move up here, look in the back there, there's a case hooked onto, you can't really see it too good, there's a case with the corn picker, corn harvester hooked on, the wagon's hooked on the back there. Move up here. This odds and ends up here. This is kind of a neat unit here. This is a cotton picker. Case IH cotton picker, which is kind of neat. Again, you don't see these in Canada, and you see these down south, and, down in the states, in the south states, different states down there where they grow cotton. And we got a case, hooked onto the disc, and then we'll move along. We got a big sprayer there. And we'll move down to this shelf. This is just a bunch of odds and ends too. We got a New Holland tractor, and then we got a 1/60 or a 1/16 pedal tractor, and then just some Tonka trucks or Tonka tractors and a bunch of stuff. And this here truck is was made by somebody. Wooden. It's made out of wood, of course, and it's got the pulling tractor sitting on it. We'll take a quick look at these other toys over here. We'll go through them really quick. We got a bunch of odds and ends here that I've collected over the years. Some little Matchbox stuff and tractors over the years at different flea markets and toy shows and stuff. They all have a story to tell, but then we get into the Hot Wheels collections. We got some Hot Wheel monster trucks still in the packages. Some of them are signed. I've gone to a few shows with my son, and there was drivers there that they had the truck, and they got them signed, so that was kind of cool. And then we got some Hot Wheel cars, trucks and cars. A few shows of those. I mostly collected, when I did collect Hot Wheels, I mostly stuck with the muscle cars and the trucks and stuff. Move along here. We have some pulling tractors and some more odds and ends trucks and some big rigs in the background there. So that's kind of cool. Lots of Hot Wheels, all different from the 60s and 70s like the models, but like I said, it's mostly muscle cars and drag racing cars. This shelf over here, there's a bunch of police cars and drag racing cars and stuff. So if you go down here to the windowsill, you can see this tractor here. It doesn't really look too special, but it actually is special. It belonged to my uncle, and he had it in his house for years, and we used to go there as a kid, and he used to be sitting on his fireplace, and I always thought it was pretty cool. So he passed away a few years back, and my cousin, his daughter, decided, she knew I collected toys, so she gave it to me, which was kind of special. That particular toy actually has been repainted, and because it went through a house fire. My uncle's house actually burnt down, and this was in the basement, and they dug it out of the rubble after, when they were cleaning up the mist from the burnt down house, and my uncle kind of painted it up again quickly, and it's nothing special. Like I have a bunch of these actually in my collection, this type of tractor with the plow, but it's special because of the story and that it was my uncle's, so it's kind of neat. And then we just move up here, and there's some more things. There's some projects here on the counter that I'm working on. I got a John Deere corn planter that, as you can see, needs a bit of work. Well, that's basically my collection. As you can see, we'll do a 360 here of the whole room. Just it's kind of a crazy hobby, and I guess it keeps me out of trouble. I could be doing worse things, but so before I finish this video, I'm going to show you these white demonstrator tractors that I have. This is a Farmall C, and this is a Farmall Super A. And you're probably wondering why they're painted white. Well, they're real tractors. They came out with them in it was a 1950 model, and being 1950, that was the half century mark. So they want to celebrate the company. So they came out with these demonstrators, and they actually painted real tractors white in the factory. And they brought them out to the dealerships, and the dealerships took them out to the farms to demonstrate them and show off all their different special features And the idea of painting them white, they want them to stand out. And that they did with the red wheels, red rims, and the white bodies. And as if you can see, it's really hard to read these little things, but they actually had, you can see one there, and there's a star there, and that showed the different features that they had, like, I don't know, this one here I think is valve in the head engine, and then there's like special touch control hydraulics. So they had these little stickers on the tractors just to show off the different features. And so that was the half-century celebration that the company did, 1950. And they let these they would take them out and demonstrate them, like I said, on the farms, and the farmers would maybe use them for a couple days, see how they liked them, and the white would draw attention. People would see them. And a lot of the tractors, when they were done with them, they actually sent them back to the factory and painted them the regular red, the Farmall red. But there was actually a few that survived and didn't make it back to the factory to get painted. So they're pretty rare. I have seen 2 in my life ever, and that was at a show about 5 or 6 years ago. And I believe the guy had 2 of them, and I think he had 2, and he was out of the province of Quebec. And they were original white demonstrator tractors. That was pretty neat to see. And there's a few around, and other companies kind of jumped on board and did the same thing. Case had a few demonstrators, and then there was the golden demonstrator that you saw in my collection, and then was the Black Knight Case demonstrator, and a few other companies kind of jumped on board. Apparently they made some equipment too that they painted white. They had a white Farmall baler, international baler. I've only seen pictures of it. Okay folks, I hope you enjoyed that tour of my toy room. I enjoyed showing everybody my toys, and we'll catch you later. And now I am going to go and get my hair cut, because apparently I need a haircut. So take care, and we'll catch you on the next video.